What's going on, Raptors Nation? It is Luca here, back with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about a recent report that came out from Hoops Hype's Michael Scotto discussing how RJ Barrett could be a trade candidate to monitor this summer. So before I dive right into it, do me a solid, guys. Smash that like and smash that subscribe button for more content just like this. So there's already been rumors, right? Ever since the Raptors traded for Brandon Ingram, we know their cap situation. This team is about to enter the luxury tax. They have until the end of next season to get out of it. And it's going to come down to maybe the Raptors making another move to comfortably be under that tax. And it's might be about who's the odd man out, because when you look at this roster, you look at the big contracts, right? Emmanuel Quickley just got into that big deal last summer, along with Scotty Barnes. That contract's going to kick in next season. BI just got his big extension. Contractually, the Raptors are going to be tight with what they have to work with. And then also, you look at the roster construction. When you look at Scotty, BI, and Barrett, there is definitely a world where they can all work together, but there's also a big possibility where it might be a clunky fit. Those guys operate in the same space, and then when you add that to the fact that Barrett, he's likely going to want a pay raise for his next contract because he's having a career year, are you going to be able to fit him long term with a big contract? Or are you better off trading him? And that's why, Barrett has been that likely trade candidate when you look at this iteration of the Raptors. So Scotto basically writes, and I quote, based on conversations before the deadline, Barrett could be a trade candidate to monitor this summer. Barrett was discussed in trade talks for Ingram with New Orleans, but the Pelicans preferred the expiring contract of Bruce Brown and stretch 5 center Kelly Olynyk, who's owed $13.45 million next season, league sources told Hoops Hype. With Trey Murphy III and Herb Jones already on the wing, the Pelicans didn't view Barrett as a suitable fit on the roster, as talks would have necessitated finding a third team, sources said. So I found this interesting because, firstly, I predicted that if the Raptors were going to trade for Ingram, they were going to have to include RJ Barrett, which obviously didn't come to fruition. But it seems like the Raptors were trying to trade RJ Barrett, but the Pelicans didn't want to take him on. And then, the other reaction I have to this is, again, going based on what I just said, it seems obvious because when you look at the fit, you bring in a guy like Ingram, the contract situation. You look at Barrett, he's owed $27.7 million next season and then $29.62 million for the 2026-2027 season. I believe he's contract eligible soon. He's going to want a raise for the numbers that he's putting up, and rightfully so. He's having a breakout season. It's not going to work out. It just doesn't seem like it's realistically going to work out when you factor in, the position that he plays, the money that he's going to warrant, and what the Raptors are currently working with. And I always viewed, right now, the Raptors situation, they kind of need a 3-and-D player to complement BI and Scotty. Barrett has definitely made progressions defensively, but he's not as good of a three-point shooter, consistent three-point shooter to kind of justify that 3-and-D role. Remember, the Knicks tried to make him that 3-and-D type player. It never worked out. And then, look, I'm still not sold on the Grady Dick being the long-term starter. I know right now he's situated as the team's starting shooting guard, but his defense has not been good. So I kind of look at that next puzzle piece in that starting five, that ideal puzzle piece, as being that 3-and-D. So how the Raptors address that remains to be seen. But I know a lot of people don't want to see RJ Barrett go, and rightfully so. He's playing well. And the other thing is he wants to be here. And obviously that is a big case for Barrett. He takes pride playing for his hometown team. He's thriving with his hometown team. And a lot of people are saying, why don't we trade Emmanuel Quickley instead? Well, the Raptors need a point guard. Scotty Barnes at the point, we saw it. It's got its limitations. It's not going to work long term. You need a point guard. So unless the Raptors are able to get a point guard replacement in the draft, they get lucky and get into that top three, you get a Dylan Harper, it's hard to see the Raptors move off from Quickley. And also, his contract is a lot larger, so that makes it more difficult to move. So that's why all arrows are pointing to Barrett, because you look at the position that he plays, the fit, the contract, what the Raptors are about to enter with the luxury tax. It makes sense that, by process of elimination, he definitely is the odd man out when you look at, okay, the Raptors going to make another move here. So then that begs the question, if the Raptors do trade Barrett, what could it be for? Is it to try to get higher up in the draft? Is it to get depth pieces? Could the Raptors have a trick up their sleeve of trying to package Barrett with draft capital for another star? Because right now, we don't know where the Raptors are at in terms of like where they view their timeline, because we all thought they were going, or at least I did, they were going to go through that slow, methodical, traditional rebuild. But then they trade for Brandon Ingram, and now this team could be a lot better next season. And then does it stop there, or does Masai say, hey, we already traded for one star, let's go all in now on another star? And you've already started to see some names out there. And by the way, like, I think the whole Joel Embiid thing is absolutely ludicrous. I'm not interested in Joel Embiid. I think he's done as a player. His best years are behind him. That contract scares me, so I'm not entertaining that. But then you start to see some other interesting names pop up, like a Trae Young, LaMelo. So, like, are the Raptors big fish hunting? I would ideally, if a RJ Barrett trade did go down, you do it in a situation where, you get back depth pieces, and also, you're able to use that as a trade that comfortably gets you under the tax, where you have a lot more wiggle room to operate. Because right now it's going to be very, very tight, especially when you take account for the Raptors are going to have to sign their upcoming pick, which we don't know whether that's going to be at this point. So then that asks, okay, like, what teams would be willing to take on Barrett? What teams are able to take on Barrett? And what's his market like? And that I don't know. Like, I don't know if, like, a contending team views Barrett as a valuable asset to them, or, if another team would be willing to take him on. So those are all variables in all of this. But I believe there's a lot of truth to this. Whether you like it or not, RJ Barrett, when you look at this team right now, he's the next trade candidate for this Toronto Raptors team. That's if they don't decide we're going to run the course and we're going to see if this works. But I really find it hard to believe that the Raptors are going to want to be a tax team for this group when, let's call it for what it is, this group is not going out there and winning a championship next season or the one after that. So that's where you get into these difficult decisions that have to eventually be made. And this Barrett situation is looming. And it could happen sooner rather than later, that maybe we see something happen. Again, the Raptors have until next season to get under that luxury tax. So in essence, they can keep everything as is. You go into the season tiptoeing that luxury tax with your first round pick, and then you see before you potentially make a deal at the deadline. But if the Raptors are able to find a deal that makes sense for them in the summer, I don't think they're going to be opposed to it, just given everything that's kind of at play here. So I did find this interesting. It's been something that we've talked about as soon as the Brandon Ingram trade went down. It's something that I've predicted is going to happen with, a Barrett trade looming, and we'll see what happens indeed. But let me know your thoughts, guys, to this. Drop a like on the video, smash the subscribe button. That's it for me. It's Luke signing off. Thanks so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next one.